Alright, I'm back on schedule now. Today we're going to cover some new films that I've gone to see in January, those being Nosferatu, Baby Girl, Queer, A Complete Unknown, Wolfman, and most recently Flight Risk. The last two actually only been 2025 releases for the rest of the world as well as the UK. And let's begin. Releasing alongside We Live in Time, which I had already had the privilege of seeing, Nosferatu released New Year's Day, and while both involving love stories, the styles and tone couldn't be more different. One is a heartbreaking and tragic story about a couple who find out one of them is going to die, and they can't stop it. And the other one is that but gothic, so maybe they're not so different. Anyway, Nosferatu is the latest from Robert Eggers, and I didn't know much about him or his style beforehand. But looking at his previous films, which I still need to watch, it became clear that this was going to be a very gothic film, loosely based on the silent film from 1922 that I also need to watch. The film is set in the 1800s and mostly in Germany, following a young lady named Ellen, played by Johnny Depp's daughter Lily Rose, and her relationship with the Count Orlok, aka Nosferatu. Her husband Thomas is played by Nicholas Hoult and gives a very good performance, as do Lily Rose and Bill Skarsgård, who plays Orlok. This film is one of the most artistic films that I have seen in a long time, with such a clear style to it and being very well directed as well. Robert Eggers clearly knows how to make a tragic gothic story with a defined style. The film is haunting and scary, covering themes such as obsessive love and the supernatural. It's honestly great, and the only reason I won't give it high is because the gothic style is not my favourite in the world, but this was still a great watch, and undeniably an artistic piece of artwork that I am so happy is doing well at the box office as well. My screen was almost full, meaning that even the general public was attracted to this film. It is honestly sensational and a true work of art that doesn't quite squeak into my top 10 of 2024 releases and sits at 11th behind We Live in Time. Still absolutely amazing, and I got a free film strip from Odeon, so that was nice, 8 out of 10. Then was Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman. This film was about a CEO being manipulated by a younger man into doing sexual favours for him, and the film is about as ridiculous as it sounds. I mean, Kidman does, of course, turn in a great performance, and it's not terrible at all, with clear themes of power struggles and manipulation, but it's poorly paced at times, and I wish there was more of a balance between seeing her essentially cheating and more of her spending time with her family, who she claims to love and care about. But we don't see enough of her with them for me to feel the consequences of her being with the younger guy. It's a fine watch if you like Nicole Kidman, but I don't think there's any other reason for you to watch it, if I'm being honest. I won't discourage you if you planned on it, it just wasn't my favourite. 5 out of 10. Queer is the latest film from Challenger's director Luca Guadagnino. I'm sorry, I've butchered that, but it's nowhere near as good as Challenger's. And Challenger's been snubbed at the Oscars overall, and especially for score, it still pisses me off. Challenger's was one of the best films of 2024, but this didn't quite reach that for me. It's extremely long and just kind of weird. At one point, they throw up their brains or hearts. I don't actually remember what one it was. I think it was their brains. It was a strange film. And I get that the film can be seen as showing that sexuality is complicated and can change, not always be clear, but I just found it long and uninteresting at times. Daniel Craig and Drew Starkey give great performances, and it's well made, but just not my cup of tea personally. If you've read the book of the same name though, apparently it's meant to be really good, but the film just wasn't for me overall. 6 out of 10. A Complete Unknown stars Timothée Chalamet as the artist Bob Dylan, and he was extremely good in the role. Singing well, acting extremely well, really falling into the role and almost embodying Bob Dylan. Everyone else is great in the film, but for me, the pacing was a real issue. I really was interested in the first half of the film because it was really interesting to watch how Bob Dylan came to New York with nothing but his guitar and made a name for himself. But the second half, once he was famous, had me lose interest until the end where he played his new version of folk music and how people reacted to it in the 60s. Other than that though, I just didn't care for the second half. Still, the film was pretty good. Timothy better get nominated for that Oscar, and he has, because 2 Oscar-worthy performances in a year is impressive. 7 out of 10. Wolfman is technically the first 2025 release that I've watched, being the first film to be released 2025 worldwide, and I thought it was pretty good as a January horror film goes. Considering last year we got Night Swim, yeah, that was fun. This was horror fun with cheap jump scares, but it was a fun, tense watch, even if the Wolfman is a lot more man than wolf. But it is a good watch, and hopefully bears well for the rest of the year in terms of horrors, because last year was dreadful. And we're ending the year with FNAF 2 this year, so hopefully it will be good. 6 out of 10. Presence was a screen unseen showing, and so I thought I'd include it. This film is an extremely unique film in the sense that it's all from the perspective of a presence in a house, watching over a family that is very disjointed and don't really look out for one another as a group. But when the time comes, the daughter's brother doesn't even hesitate, and it hits like a brick because deep down he really did care. Also, due to the nature of the film, it's all long takes and the actors do a phenomenal job managing around that. It's short, experimental and works extremely well. 8 out of 10. Finally, Mark Wahlberg stars in the loose thriller Flight Risk. It was fine, it's nothing special from Mel Gibson, but it's a bit of fun following a witness and officer trying to survive a plane where Mark Wahlberg is trying to kill them. It's short, not overstaying, it's welcome and it's watchable. It's a fun idea of being stuck on a plane in the middle of nowhere, though not executed to as good as it could be, but still good enough that it's watchable. And for a January release, it's as good as it gets. 6 out of 10. So, all caught up now. Next up is a Fortnite video, and then we'll see what comes out of the Super Bowl. If there's an MI trailer, I'll react to that. If not, maybe a Beast Games video, and then on to Marvel. Stream Friday. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen any of these, and peace out.